thank you, Your Holiness, to release our souvenir for our on behalf of our consecration of our new church. We also have another book release now, which is a special moment for Mr. John Mathews. So the book is entitled Maphrianate of the East and the Malankara Church. So could I invite Mustafa Tigmanis to have a few words?
First of all, let me congratulate each and every one of you in this congregation. There is this famous saying in India, incredible India, or India, incredible India. I would say incredible Seminary's Jacobite Syrian Church. Small is beautiful. That's what I think Moran also mentioned about small. Small is beautiful. This is a congregation, less than 100 families. And you have done a wonderful thing. As we mentioned, as I think Moran also mentioned the other day, that this is the second, actually this is the second property we own as a congregation in London, I mean in UK. But this is the first church. Moran came and consecrated with Holy Moran. That is something we should always be proud of. And the church itself, its construction and the matbah, everything is so beautifully done. And there is no word to And I would like to congratulate our team, the team member of this church, and particularly I would congratulate His Holiness Mor Gregorios, he was with us in the and most of the many of the work has been done during this time. And the priests, those who have been leading this congregation, like Reverend Father Ignatius, you know that he is from my diocese. And he's from International Church. And I remember that many times he has traveled all the way to Kerala, from Manchester to get things arranged from Kerala. He always, it's his dream to create this as a beautiful Nadamal St. Mary's Church pronounced like that. So it has been almost materialized in such a way. It's been beautifully done. A special congratulations to Father Theophilose for his hard work and his dedication. And the priest who is assisting him, our Father Elders Protocol, and the parents of the church, and the committee of the celebration committee. I have noticed the very moment they received from the reception from the airport to the hotel, and the 4 events we had. Each and every event was managed very well, and we all have a very team. The team members were responsible for the food, the transportation, and the program. We had the kids program, the dinner program, and also the football ground, the hall, the Holy Mass, and exercise programs. But everything was very well planned and very well arranged. Thank you very much and congratulations again. I don't know what I'm going to say is right or not, but I take the freedom. This church will be completed in full sense. They have a request. If that request has been materialized, that will be the completion of this beautiful church. Moran said many things about church and its consecration and the meaning of it. And also Moran said many things about seminary and all. It's a dream for the UK, the entire UK and Ireland to have sooner of seminary. It's not an easy task because I myself requested Holiness to have a small portion of Sunoro for many reasons. So many churches are asking for it, but Moran is a little bit perplexed and not has given the consent or will give to me. But in this case, I think I believe positively that Moran will definitely do something about it. Because registered, that has been registered anyway. It has been registered. So continuous praise that will definitely happen. I pray that will happen. Anyway, you are the blessed people, and we should be thankful to God. And it's all because of the intercession of Saint Mary, Mother of God. Thank you very much, and God bless you. And today, my responsibility is to introduce Mr. John Mathew Narekattu and his new book, Maphrianate of the East in the Malankara Church. I have gone through the book very fast, not in a meticulous reading, and Moran has looked into some of the manuscript, very valuable manuscripts, and has gone through it in a what do you call that? Lens. The magnifying lens the other day. After a hectic program, Moran stood with him for 2 hours and he finished it by 10:30 last night. So the night before. And has some corrections, and some of the manuscripts is fabricated. There are a lot of things in this book, a lot of revelations in this book, and it has a lot to do with the history of our church in India as well. Even though it's the Maphrianate of the East in the Malankara Church, there is a lot more things. Sometimes maybe this is going to be relevant in the future litigations and or in our church too. I will give a very brief of this Maphrianate of the East and the Malankara Church book. The book represents the history of the Syrian Orthodox Church of Mathew in the Persian Empire. This book narrates the history of the Maphrianate from the 6th century to the 19th century in detail. It includes the list of 81 Maphrianos. Maphrianos means Catholicos. That is, Catholicos is more familiar to you. Maphrianate is equal to Catholicos. 81 Maphrianos, subject to the Patriarch, with specific reference to the Maphrianos from Moroto to Basilios, Vietnam, 4th, 1860. This book also elaborates the way in which the Maphrianate was introduced in Malankara by the deposed Patriarch Ignatius Abdul Meshihad II. It also exposes the illegitimacy of edicts, states as issued by deposed Patriarch Ignatius Abdul Meshihad II. Images of several of these documents are provided in a series of appendix, which includes the Theological of Mor Gregorios Abdul Jalil of Vatican Paravu, Basilius Eldo Baba, Kotamangalam Chariapalli, and then Holy Synod decision to depose Patriarch Ignatius Abdul Meshihad, Ottoman archival records detailing the decisions to withdraw Ferman of Patriarch Ignatius Abdul Meshihad II based on the recommendations from the Synod, and the edicts states as issued by deposed Patriarch Ignatius Abdul Meshihad II in Malankara. These all are very historically important things. The draft copy of the book was given to His Holiness in June 2022, and His Holiness blessings. The book is completed. The book is enriched with forward notes given by His Grace Joseph Metropolitan, His Grace Mor Timotheus Thomas Metropolitan, His Grace Mor Ostatius Isaac Metropolitan, Dr. Sebastian Brook, Dr. Khalid Dino, who's he? A famous historian, Moran. The book is dedicated to the sacred memory of Reverend Father Kuriakose of Malankara Archbiscopal. The God blesses. So the book will be made available to faithful shortly. Thank you for listening.
John, can I say a couple of words? I must talk for too long, but I'd like to commend John for his passion, for his tireless work, for his patience in dealing with such a very complicated issue, an issue that is that's source of contention, and it's the heart of the litigation that's going on now in our church in India. It talks about the separation of a group from our church who became later known as the Catholicos of the East, or the IOC, what we call it in Orthodox Church. John is trying to find out the causes, but also the ways that this issue developed in the church. And he's dealing with a period of the history of the church which is very difficult, because first of all it was a time of uncertainties in the church. We're talking about the end of the Ottoman Empire, the beginning of the First World War, the beginning of Seifo, actually in between the two Seifos, the Seifo of Diyarbakir 1895 and then the great Seifo of 1914, 15 to 20, the genocide, the massacres of our people, where we lost a lot of manuscripts, a lot of books, a lot of records from our diocese. I mean, we lost diocese, whole diocese. We had more than 7-8 dioceses in the southeast Turkey region, in Turabdin, Mardin, that area. After the war, we had only one. Imagine what happened. How many people were killed, how many churches were destroyed, how many libraries were burned and destroyed. John took the labor and the hard work of going to Deir Zafaran, or Patriarchal headquarters, for over 600 years, and he went some other places, and he was able to obtain copies of Kalpanas, of Sosatikun, of other documents, to make the point that there was something fishy, something wrong in the establishment of the new Catholic state in India. His work is not finished. It's not complete, but it's the first steps of research that I believe will show the truth. And that's what we want. We don't want to make up the truth. We don't want to change the history. We want to show the truth. And that's what John has been doing. Therefore, I congratulate him and I bless him, his efforts, and I hope, as the many mentioned, that this book will be a document that we can depend on in the future for the peace in the church. God bless you, John. Congratulations.
And His Holiness is going to give the first copy to the resident metropolitan of the president of the seminary, and also the Patriarch in Europe.
To encourage the students to continue the research.
Thank you, Your Holiness, for releasing our souvenir, as well as Mr. John Matthew's new book. Thank you, His Grace Joseph Mor Gregorios,